After scrolling through social media recently and seeing discussion after discussion on the subject, I realized something interesting about the word loli. That a lot, and I do mean a lot of people who use it nowadays, have no idea what the hell it even means. Which is, understandable for various reasons. The first and most obvious one is that most people aren't a bunch of lazy idiots like you and me and have better things to do with their time than learning what an obscure term from Japanese otaku culture means. The second is that there are a lot of people out there who misuse the word, to the point of folks thinking it means anything from child, to shorty, to even child predator. Spoiler, apart from the last one, all these definitions are both right and wrong at the same time. And that's due to our last reason, the simple fact that the term loli is very, very broad. In fact, the word loli can even be considered an umbrella term, or a word used to refer to a large group of related things. Since, if you, like me, spend too much time of your life watching anime, you know that there is not just one but various types of lolis out there, like legal lolis and oppai lolis. Meaning several very different characters can all be called loli. Therefore, to understand what the word really means, it's necessary to analyze all types of lolis and see what they all have in common. The first type of loli is the classic one, which is the type that most people are familiar with. Different from what most people think, however, while every classic loli is an anime child, not every anime child is a loli. In fact, the only child characters that receive this rating are those that are so over the top that they don't even look like real children anymore. That's why there are a lot of people out there who love loli but hate children, for example. Although that may seem strange at first, presenting something that's bad in real life in a positive light in fiction is not a new concept at all, even outside of anime. And in the same way that Toradora is not advocating for abusive relationships, nor hatred for serial killers, lolis are also not a subliminal attempt to make relationships with minors accepted in any way. Actually, with how much of a beating these protagonists take for ending up involved in accidental situations involving lolis, you could even argue that their message is the exact opposite. Anyway, the second type of loli is the oppai loli, which in essence means big boobs loli. These are tiny, adorable characters who, for one reason or another, have balloons bigger than their heads attached to their chests. This type of loli is one of the rarest, so maybe when I described them, you said something along the lines of, "Hey, that sounds a lot like short stacks," which are a far more popular type of character. While the two concepts have their similarities, however, you should already be able to understand the massive difference between the two just by looking at the images I have on screen right now. Which is, of course, that oppai lolis need to be adorable and drawn in an anime style, while short stacks don't, to say the least. One thing that oppai lolis and short stacks do have in common though, and that distinguishes them from classic lolis, is that they don't have to be underage. Due to this, they can also belong to the third and last type of loli, which is the legal loli. As the name implies, the name references the classic joke people like to make about loli fans, since these lolis, despite looking and sometimes even acting younger, won't take you to jail for liking them, since they aren't underage. Of course, in reality, no loli is gonna land you in jail, as that would be just as silly as arresting someone for playing Mortal Kombat. However, no self-respecting prick is gonna let silly things like facts and logic stop them from making fun of you, whether you like legal or illegal lolis. To be fair though, the fetish really is weird. That at least I must admit. So, as long as it's just a joke, I don't think there's anything wrong with making fun of people who like it. That said, come up with a new joke for God's sake. Every time I see a loli meme, it's jail this, jail that, get new material, I'm begging you at this point. Anyway, after this whole analysis, I'm sure that you noticed that all these types of lolis have some characteristics in common. They are short, adorable, exaggerated in some way compared to real life, and therefore only exist in anime. With this set of characteristics defined, we can then address some examples of what lolis are and aren't, and why to make the concept clear. They may not look like it, but yes, as already referenced, both Uzaki and Rebecca are lolis, since they fulfill all the established characteristics, both being legal lolis, but only one of them being an oppai loli. By the same logic, however, neither Anya nor Midi are lolis, despite appearing to be. That's because, despite the exaggerated style in which they are drawn, especially Anya with her big forehead, Neither of these characters have a personality that's too cute to be real, or bodies that appear more developed than should be possible for their age, as is characteristic of lolis. Quite the opposite, in fact, as the two have some of the most realistic, childlike personalities I've seen in anime. Despite having all the characteristics of a legal loli, to the point that it even spawned some memes, I'm sorry to inform you that Amanda for Invincible isn't a loli of any kind either, as she doesn't come from an anime. For the same reason, Ben 10's Gwen isn't a loli either, not even in the first season. Finally, some good examples of classic lolis would be Shiro from No Game No Life and Ilia from Fate Kaleid. If you liked this video, or if it at least added some useless knowledge to your life, then leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and write in the comments suggestions for topics for other videos like this in the future. Oh, and please, if you can, don't forget to check out my Wattpad as well, where I publish original stories inspired by anime. Since, while I can't promise they will be exactly like the ones I analyze on the channel, they should, at least, be close enough to entertain you if we have similar tastes. And with that, I now bid you farewell. Obscure Anime, out.